Hey everyone, GuardianE here with another live reaction and first impression video for Fire Emblem Heroes. And today we're getting the all-new trailer for the new set of heroes that was leaked by the Google Achievements, I think. I actually didn't look. I managed to remain spoiler-free, so I actually don't know who it is. I just know that most people know who it is by now. So we'll have to see. I do know that I see that the name of the trailer is The Dread Isle, and then we'll just watch it together for the first time. I'll go through my live reaction, and then we'll go through watch again to go through an analysis of the actual skills and the art and the characters themselves. So let's get started. So I'm going to look away, and then once the splash hits, I will look back so I don't get spoiled on each of the individual characters. So I will look back now. Bright Bard. Oh, it's Nils. Okay, Infantry Dragon, Blue Dragon, Frost Breath, Play is his assist, okay. Even Pulse Tie. He's got a lot of new and exclusive skills on him. That same dragon sprite, I swear. Alright, Wolf of Sacae. Rath. Cavalry Green Archer. Okay. Slaying Bow Plus. Ugh, I don't know about these skills, though. I mean, they're okay. Just seems like he is a likely demote. Airborne Warrior. Fiora! Okay, so a Flying Pegasus Lancer. Again, those skills. Pegasus Flight, though. Is that going to be an exclusive flyer skill? Because I am all about that. That can be very, very exciting. And we're wrapping it up with Rose Amid Fangs. Wow. Leila. Alright, so she is an infantry dagger user. That huge description. Ruse skills, smoke skills. Okay, so she's got a lot of good stuff. Alright. So the new story chapter is going to be on Dark Wings. It's going to have Plumeria in it, apparently. Let's take a quick pause here to see if there are any surprises. It doesn't look like it. Let's keep going. Alright, so new heroes are going to be here starting on the 16th at 11 p.m., which means Monday. So next Monday is when these new heroes are going to hit. It does look like... Well, I don't know. I feel like Fiora could also be a potential demo. Again, we'll take another look. We'll take a closer look at the skills themselves to see who we would think may end up getting dropped down. But the heroes themselves look fancy. We are probably going to be getting a Forging Bonds event associated with this, which, of course, as you all know, means free summon tickets, so that is always exciting. Let's just keep going to see if there are any, pre-demote surprises in the trailer that they've done in the past. We haven't got one of those in a little while. And it looks like we're not going to get one today either. So no pre-demote this time around, which is kind of unfortunate. Would have liked to see that, but you know what? I'm okay with them not doing it every single banner. That is fine. I just hope they don't forget. I hope they don't stop doing it, because I think it was a big improvement. All right, so let's go ahead, rewind, take a closer look at the characters, closer look at their skills, and closer look at their art to see if they're worth pulling for. Alright, so the Dread Isle. Nils, I know a lot of people are going to be happy with Nils' inclusion. Bright Bard, I am curious what his assist is going to be. Alright, so Kipu doing the art. Kipu, I think, kind of known for doing a lot of the female characters in the game with giant eyes and giant heads. Like, for example, Alincia, Ninian, Lind, for example. And also for kind of having more pastel colors, and you see that coming through here as well. Nils is obviously youthful, and that comes through with the facial expression, and kind of, again, Kipu's penchant for having sort of youthful faces. And the pastel effect on the art itself works really well with kind of the feathered bottoms of the art. So yeah, looks pretty sprightly. So he's going to be an infantry blue dragon. Let's take a look at his skills. So let's pause. Frost Breath. So this is going to be an exclusive Dragon Breath weapon for him. It's 16 might, grants res +3 at start of turn or when play is used. Okay. Inflicts attack speed defense res -4 on closest foe within 4 spaces of unit through their next action. If foe's range is equal to 2, calculates damage. Okay, so adaptive damage. Okay, so that's interesting. It's a -4 debuff to all stats on the closest foe on both player phase or enemy phase, because it's either at the start of the turn, right? Or when play is used, and we'll see what the assist play actually is, which means you have some control over it. What that also means is that you can potentially debuff 2 enemies, right? Because you can, at the start of the turn, be in range of 1 enemy, debuff -4 to all of their stats, and then move him to use play on another ally, and then debuff another enemy, right? So he can kind of play that assist role. So let's look at play here. Grants another action to target ally. Okay, so it's just dance. Is that basically it? That turn only does not stack into target singer dance. It's treated as singer. Yeah, it's just dance. I think I was thinking about play as in like he actually wants to play with the ally rather than him playing his instrument. So I think that's where I kind of got mixed up there. But it does seem like this is a new assist for specifically bard classes. So we may end up seeing more bards in the game going forward. Who knows? It's possible. But in those instances, we may see play instead of dance or instead of sing. HP defense 2 for the A slot. That is a fairly unremarkable skill. Even pulse tie 3. Okay, so a B slot skill. At start of even numbered turns, which of course implies there's going to be an odd variant of this, if foe with the lowest HP has a special ready, and unit's HP is greater than or equal to that foe's HP plus 1, inflict special cooldown count +2 on that foe. Okay. Cannot exceed the foe's maximum special cooldown. Huh. So that is interesting. So it's only on even number turns. And I just said that if there's even, that means there's also odd. So if the foe with the lowest HP on the enemy team has their special ready, and the unit's HP is greater than or equal to the foe's HP. So you want to have his health topped off, which of course is why he has HP defense 2. It's still not a great skill, but I mean, that's why he has HP defense 2. So HP defense 2, and so as long as his HP is higher and the enemy has their special charged, then inflict special cooldown count +2 on that foe. So I think it wasn't quite as good as I was expecting because there are a lot of conditions tied to it, but essentially I think it's meant to neutralize certain offensive threats that come with like basically infantry cooldown teams. So, you know, you have your Ophelias or ones that stack with, or Sonias, basically characters with Quick and Pulse that have their special charged and ready, AoE specials charged and ready right out of the gate. You know, even Pulse Tie will essentially add a special cooldown +2 on that foe and help to neutralize that immediate offensive threat. I think that's the intent, but the fact that it only works on even numbered turns and it only works when their special is ready means that it's not widely or universally applicable. It is map wide, so I don't want to discount the fact that it is map wide, which is great for a debuff in general, but it just seems oddly specific. So certainly I think if there are certain threats to your team that you absolutely hate dealing with, even Pulse Tie can be an equalizer for you. It just seems very condition heavy. So the even number turns, that's fine, I get it. You know, having more HP than your opponent, that's fine, I get it. It only targeting the foe with the lowest HP on the enemy team, that seems oddly specific, and that's not something in your control. So I do think that is kind of an issue with this skill. It's only going to be useful in those scenarios where you know that the nuker is going to have the lowest HP on the enemy team. And in a lot of instances, that means it's only going to affect one of the enemy, and you don't have control over who that is. You know, it could be that certain units will just... Obviously, most offensive threats, or most ranged offensive threats, have low HP. So there's a good chance that those nukers will have the lowest HP on the enemy team, but that's not something that you have in your control. So I don't know how I feel about this skill, to be completely honest. I don't think it's incredible. I think it can be useful to neutralize certain threats that you absolutely hate dealing with in Ether Raids. If there's some like degree of consistency with the HP, I get it. I could see that use. But it's not exactly what I was expecting, to be completely honest. Infantry Pulse 3, at start of turn 1, grants special cooldown count -1 to all infantry allies on team with HP less than unit's HP. So again, a condition being having high HP on Nils, so that is going to kind of be the name of the game for him. He does want to have high HP, and he's probably going to have high HP, and he's probably going to have high HP, which is probably going to siphon numbers from his other stats in the stat line. And something like HP Defense 2, you could actually replace with a dual skill, because a dual skill will give him additional HP, and also serve the purpose of giving this Dancer some additional BST, which is nice for scoring purposes. So let's keep going. Nils has it's a very interesting support role. And this dragon sprite again. They keep reusing these dragon sprites and just recoloring them. Alright, so Wolf of Sacae. Born from the Plains. Rath looks very no-nonsense. He's all business right here, ready to do some damage. He is a cavalry green archer, so... you know, reminiscent of Sue, I guess, and we'll have to see. I don't know, his stat line may be drastically different from Sue, and I believe Sue was the last color cavalry archer, I think? I may be way wrong on that, actually. I can't remember. But from an aesthetic standpoint, he kind of reminds me of her, to be honest with you. And, yeah. Looks good, though. Let's take a quick look. So, yes, Slaying Bow Plus... Alright, I mean, it's fine. It's 12 might, accelerated special trigger, cooldown count -1. Slaying weapons are good. They're solid. Just nothing new. Nothing we haven't seen before. Glimmer boosts damage up by 50%. Speed Res Form 3 grants Speed Res plus X to unit during combat. X is 2 times the number of allies within 2 spaces with a max of 7. So, I actually like the form skills. I think Speed Res Form is a little... Yeah, I mean, it's very specific. It's not... doesn't have a lot of multi-purpose, so I think that a lot of people are not going to opt for Speed Res Form 3, except for very, very, very specific builds. Defense Smoke 3 inflicts defense -7 on foes within 2 spaces of target through their next action. It's alright. Honestly, Rath feels a lot like they just needed a unit to throw Speed Res Form 3, like another form skill to round out the form skills, because this kit's pretty lacking. I mean, there's nothing very unique or special about it. Maybe his stat line will be, but I think that I think Rath is a very, very, very strong candidate for a demote on this basis. So let's keep going. Take a look at his attacking art. It's a cool voice line. I like that. Alright, so up next, Airborne Warrior. That oddly deep voice. So we've got Fiora here. No longer just a seasonal. She is a Pegasus Lance user. Her art is, I'm pretty sure the artist is the same from the earlier version of Fiora that we got. Looks very similar at least. So she looks good overall. The standing art isn't terribly dynamic or anything, but that's okay. She certainly looks the role of a Pegasus Knight, and she certainly will fulfill that role too. Well, let's keep going here. Fighting for her homeland. Okay. So let's pause. So Guard Lance Plus is a new weapon. It's going to be inheritable. 14 might inflict special cooldown charge -1 on foe per attack during combat. Built-in guard on the weapon. That's kind of fun. I gotta say, that's kind of fun. You know, you gotta have to look at this. It looks a little underwhelming at first because guard is one of those skills that's really good in principle, but unfortunately by itself isn't that hot. So that's why more recently they've been adding a lot of B slot skills that have guard built into them, A slot skills that have guard built into them, because guard by itself really kind of isn't cutting it. So Guard Lance Plus, I don't know if really it by itself is going to be that great. Now, what Guard Lance Plus does is, for flyers specifically, it opens up the B slot. So that's pretty critical because the B slot is home to a lot of really, really powerful and useful skills. And a lot of those skills that would otherwise have guard built into the A or B slot, flyers don't have access to. So it's another way to have guard on a flyer while freeing up the B slot. And like I can see right now that Pegasus Flight 3 is a B slot skill. We'll have to see what that exactly is. But, you know, that does open doors to new strategies, certainly. You know, make no mistake, Guard Lance Plus doesn't have a lot of frills, but I can certainly see some interesting kits being devised out of it. Iceberg for the special kind of speaks to her having some good res, potentially. Fury 3, so not even Fury 4, they gave her Fury 3. But if she is demoted, that's another source of Fury 3, which is something that we don't really have a lot of. So that's actually kind of welcome if she does end up getting demoted, which, again, I'm not totally convinced that's going to happen because on her B slot, she has Pegasus Flight 3. So let's take a look at what this is. At start of combat, if unit speed is greater than foe speed +7, inflicts penalty on foes' attack and defense during combat equal to 50% of the difference between res stats. Oh my god. I was really excited that there was like potentially a flyer exclusive B slot skill, but this is just so specific. Like, it's so specific. It uses all 4 of the stats as either a condition or effect in it. And I don't really like that. It's just really convoluted. Alright, so it's at start of combat, which means the check is at the start of combat, which means the debuffs are in combat, right? If unit's speed is greater than or equal to foe speed +7. So that's a dramatic condition. Like, she has to have 7 speed over her opponent? That's really dramatic. A lot of units that have come out recently that are min-maxed, that have really low speed, you know, this is weaponized against them, right? It's intended to combat those specific units. But even so, I mean, that's just... I mean, +7 just kind of feels like a lot. Inflicts penalty on foes' attack and defense during combat equal to 50% of the difference between the res stats. So again, it uses the speed as a condition for the check, right? Then it affects the attack and defense, but it uses the res stat as a mechanism for calculating the debuff on the attack and defense. And then the maximum penalty is -7. So it's an in-combat debuff, let's back it up. The in-combat debuff means that it can stack on visible debuffs that you see on the enemy. And that's actually a really powerful thing. -7 is good. I mean, it's strong. But I feel like the conditions that you have to meet are just so bizarre. You have to have a unit with really, really high speed and really, really high res to take advantage of this. Because essentially you need to have 14 res over your opponent, and you have to have 7 speed over your opponent in order to maximize the benefits from Pegasus Flight 3. And that just seems very stringent of a requirement, and very specific to certain units. So like Sheeta, for example, will be able to take advantage of this because Sheeta has, you know, pretty high speed and pretty high res. A lot of flyers have that, you know, that basis essentially of high res and high speed. But even so, having +7 speed and +14 res over your opponent, I feel like, again, it's very oddly specific and tailored to combating certain enemies out there, certain opponents out there. I feel like it's something that I feel like they could have made it more universal. I feel like if the speed condition was lessened a little bit, it would make Pegasus Flight 3 a lot better of a skill. I still think it's good. I just think it has to go on very, very specific units, and it's going to be useful in very specific scenarios. But when it activates, and when it activates against those particular units, it's going to be amazing. Because that -7 debuff to attack and defense in combat, which stacks onto visible debuffs, means that she's going to be doing a lot more damage. 7 damage to be precise. If she has 7 speed over her opponent, presumably she's going to double. So that's basically 14 extra damage, which is good. I mean, that's great. And then she'll take 14 less damage. At least 7 less damage, I suppose. Because she's not going to have Desperation. If it's a B-slot skill, she's not going to be able to have Desperation, which means that she is going to get counterattacked. So when she attacks into somebody, they're going to counterattack into her, and she's going to take that hit, but it's going to be -7. So again, I don't know. I'm a little lukewarm on Pegasus Flight 3. I was really excited at the fact that there was a new flyer-specific skill, and this doesn't entirely sell me on it, but it's unique. It's certainly unique, and again, powerful in certain scenarios. So let's take a look at Fiora's art here. That's dynamic. It looks really good. Okay. And then we'll take a look at Rose amid Fangs. Alright, so we've got Leila here. She is an infantry dagger unit. So I didn't mention about Fiora. I mean, she's a Pegasus Knight, Pegasus Lancer. Really, really high competition in that category. Similarly here, infantry dagger unit. Very, very steeped in competition. Lots of potential candidates out there. Lots of free, solid candidates out there. But all the same, Lila looks really good here. Penacor did really, really good job on her art. I think Penacor also did Aversa, right? I mean, Lila looks really great here. She looks stylish. She has kind of this sort of slinkiness about her because she's a thief, so she's hiding in the shadows. I definitely really like her look. I think that she probably has, at least for me personally, the best art on the banner.
Risking my life is just part of the job.
Yeah, looks solid. So let's take a look at these skills. Oh boy, so Constant Dagger is her weapon, which means it's not inheritable, it's not a plus. So it is exclusive to her. It's going to be a 14 might weapon, grants speed +3, that's always a good thing. If unit initiates combat, grants attack speed +5 during combat. Nice. Okay, that is just solid. If unit initiates combat and is within 2 spaces of support partner. Oh, it's one of these. Foe cannot counterattack, and unit and support partner swap spaces after combat. Whoa, really? That's so interesting. And then it has the dagger debuff. This is actually really interesting. Okay. Alright, so out of the gate, speed boost, and then attack and speed boost when initiating combat. Both great things. She's going to be a player phase unit, which is exactly what you want. If she has a support unit near her, she makes the opponent not able to counterattack, which is amazing. So that means it essentially turns Constant Dagger into a Fire Sweep Dagger. Okay? And then they swap places after combat if they're within 2 spaces. So not even adjacent. But just thinking about this conceptually a little bit, ranged units deliberately have hit and run and skills like that locked against them. What they don't want is to have ranged units be able to attack and then back themselves away without having to be refreshed or danced or repositioned, assisted out of the way. With Lila, however, as long as she has a support unit within 2 spaces, not only does her dagger turn into a Fire Sweep Dagger, a Fire Sweep Dagger with a built-in attack speed boost and inherent speed boost and attack speed boost on when initiating. Not only does it turn it into a Fire Sweep Dagger, you swap afterwards. There are just so many fun possibilities with this because you can have Lila run in, attack into an enemy, get those debuffs going on the the smoke effect from the dagger, in addition to killing the enemy, and then swapping with the ally that's like maybe the support partner, which is like maybe a really tanky unit, so you can very easily plant them in the middle of the enemy forces so that, with bonus doubler on them, or some Omni tank maybe that you might have, plant them in the enemy forces who are all debuffed, and then they're going to have to initiate on him because he or she is going to be blocking the way. That's one potential strategy. Another potential strategy could even be if you have like a nuker or a Gale Force user, something to that effect. You could have Leila go in, do the attack, kill a unit, and then swap places with the Gale Force user. So now the Gale Force user can run right in and wreak havoc. And that's actually like absurd. Now, one thing worth noting is that the support partner effect will only work in a player's hands, because as I understand it, from a defense perspective, when you have your arena defense or your Aether Raids defense, that does not take into account summoner support or partner support among the characters. So as far as I know, Constant Dagger won't do anything special in the hands of the AI. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding. So if that's the case, then again, this is another one of those skills where I think I talked about this before. It seems like they're trying to create skills that are really powerful in a player's hands, but really kind of like limp in the AI's hands, which I think is a great shift towards. I think that's a great shift in the meta, because what that means, you always want to empower the player. The AI, you can set up traps and do really cheap things with them, so you want to empower the player and give them skills that they can use against the AI, and I think this is one such skill. Rally attack speed plus is a dual plus rally. I mean, that's great. Attack speed +6 to target ally for 1 turn. And the fact that she kind of has an inherent swap in her Constant Dagger means that maybe she doesn't need a positioning assist. Maybe she can run this rally attack speed instead. Life and Death 4 for the A slot, grants attack speed +7, inflicts defense res -5. She is a player phase unit, no question about that, so that makes perfect sense. Attack defense ruse 3 for the B slot. If rally assist skill is used by unit or target's unit, inflicts attack defense -5 and guard on foes in cardinal directions of unit and target through their next actions. I just got finished talking about how guard is being slapped onto other things because by itself it's a little lackluster. This is another example of that, of course, with the ruse skills. It's good. Ruse skills, I think, are actually really interesting and uniquely powerful. It just seems like Lila is like stacked with really unique tactical skills. And I like that. I mean, I think that's really fun. So she's got the ruse skills, which I think, again, aren't like super powerful. They're not absurdly powerful, but they're incredibly useful in the right hands and in certain scenarios. Constant Dagger, I think, opens up a whole lot of strategies. I'm sorry, I didn't even talk about attack smoke. So she has attack smoke in her C slot, which means paired with her Constant Dagger, when she goes in and attacks with her partner nearby, she's going to debuff in a smoke effect of -7 to attack, defense, and res, which is awesome. And then she swaps in her tank or her Gale Force partner, or whoever that might be, that's going to wreak havoc after all is said and done. So, great kit. Lots of interesting, unique application. I think she's a really fun-looking character. I think she's the best in Banner. I think she's the best in Banner in terms of art. I think she's the best in Banner in terms of her skills, just because of how unique she is. I think she's going to be a lot of fun to play. Let's keep going. And that is a unique dagger to her, so only she's going to be able to get that off. Let's take a look at her skill, or her attacking art. Looks really good. I really like her art a lot. So we got Nils, Fiora, Leila, and, well, no, not Plumeria, it's Rath. So let's take a pause here. Okay. So, Nils, I think, he's a dancer. I mean, he's not going to be bad because he's a dancer, and he offers a lot of really great support. So, can't really discount that. I mean, he does provide great support in his role. Florina is okay. She has some stiff competition as a Pegasus Lancer. That just comes with the territory. At the same time, she does have some unique things. She has a new weapon. She has a new B-slot skill. Unfortunately, you know, I feel like the B-slot skill could have been a lot better than it is, and her weapon is just kind of okay. And then you've got Rath back there, who's like Mr. Demote. Unfortunately, I can't see him not being demoted. It's really between him and Fiora. But my money is on Rath, to be completely honest, as being the demote for this banner. And then you have Lila, who I think is hands down the most fun character on this banner, without question. One of the biggest issues being that she, again, has stiff competition as an infantry dagger unit. There's a lot of effective units out there that can get very easily, you can get merges for, that can fulfill similar roles. But again, she has that very, very unique ability with her weapon, with that built-in swap effect. And I think it's awesome. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see how people end up using that. Overall, despite me really liking Lila, I think that the banner itself is kind of lackluster. And I didn't mention this, but there's not even color distribution, so it's heavily weighted towards blue. So there's 2 blue focus units, 1 green, 1 colorless, no reds. So there's no reason to pull red on this banner. You're getting basically half the rate of a 5-star if you pull on reds. And so all of the other colors that are here are, you know, now that also means that with blue you get basically double the chance, not double the chance, it doesn't work out that way, but you get an increased chance from blues to get a 5-star focus unit, which is, you know, it's nice. So that said, overall I think the banner's kind of underwhelming, unfortunately. Lila, I think, is great. I think she's so unique and so interesting. I'd love to play around with her, but at the end of the day, none of these units are seasonals, none of them are duo units. So that means that none of them are limited, and they're going to enter the general pool. At least one of them's going to get demoted. So yeah, I personally wouldn't recommend pulling on this unless you're a huge fan of one of these characters. But if you are a huge fan of one of these characters, absolutely pull on this. Why not? That is the most important factor when you're deciding to pull on a banner, is whether or not you're a fan of a character. For me personally, I will probably use my Forging Bond tickets on Lila, trying to get Lila, and hoping for the best. If I don't get her, I don't get her, probably. And then we'll just move on with our lives. I might pull a little bit more for Leila. Again, I think her dagger's so fun. But yeah, we'll just have to see how that ends up panning out. So let me know in the comments below if you are excited for this banner and who you're going to be pulling for, if anybody. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you all so much for watching and taking time out of your day to spend with us. We really, really do appreciate it. And until next time, let's protect those skies.